Hi everyone, welcome back to the Love Me a Latte channel. In today's video, I wanted to address something that I think a lot of us have felt at least once in our lives, and that is the feeling of being ugly. I think that right now is a really good time to put out this video because I don't know about you guys, but the fact that I can't go out and get my hair done is driving me insane. And the thing is, the last time I got my hair cut was in November. But the last time I had my hair colored was actually in August. So it's been a long time coming for me to even get my hair done. And I made an appointment literally the day that they declared state of emergency in my province. I was supposed to get my hair done that day, and then it got canceled. And I know a lot of other people are kind of freaking out about this. You see those memes on Facebook. They are really funny where, you know, the girl's got like the unibrow and her fingernails are all torn off and her hair, like she had it bleach blonde. You can see the black roots in her hair. And yeah, like, you know, it is kind of silly because what's going on in the world right now, like that shouldn't be our concern, right? That our concern really shouldn't be about getting our hair done, you know, getting our nails done, eyelashes, whatever it is that you get done. But this is something that still does affect us, and it affects us more than we might even realize. So for those reasons, I wanted to make a video kind of addressing this feeling of ugliness that a lot of us have felt before in our lifetime. So another reason I wanted to make this video is actually because I was inspired from a subreddit on Reddit, which is called Am I Ugly? And this subreddit has over 200k users, which is a lot. And basically, for people that aren't familiar with what Reddit is and what the Am I Ugly subreddit is that it's a subreddit basically where people post selfies of themselves and they ask other members to rate them, to tell them how attractive they think that they are. And the thing that I found, and I have seen other people make posts about this on the subreddit, is that a lot of these people aren't actually ugly. Like, in my opinion, these people are like at least average looking to even being above average, in my opinion. And I think the reason that a lot of people post on this subreddit has to do with the fact that they are very insecure in terms of who they are as a person, and they just lack self-confidence. And the thing is, these things don't go hand in hand. Being attractive on the outside doesn't go hand in hand with feeling confident on the inside and feeling confident about who you are. And I'm going to share a story later on in this video, my own personal experiences with this. But I think part of the reason that some people might question whether they're attractive or not has to do with how much attention they get from other people. Because this is a major issue right now, especially with social media being so prevalent in today's society. You see, you know, all these Instagram models, for example, getting all these likes and comments on Instagram. And maybe you post a selfie and you don't get many likes or you don't get many comments. And then you start comparing yourself to these Instagram models and you're like, man, like I must be ugly then because nobody's commenting on my photo, nobody's liking my photo. Or it could even be in person. Like maybe you have a friend who gets hit on all the time. You know, you're out at the bar and there's always these guys approaching them, for example. And maybe you don't have that. Maybe you don't get much attention from, you know, the gender that you are interested in. And this can really make you feel insecure, even if really you're not attractive on the outside. A lot of attractive people still feel these ways. A lot of attractive people don't get approached all the time, and a lot of attractive people don't necessarily get a lot of attention. And there's multiple reasons for this. A lot of us like to say, oh, like attention's just based off of how physically attractive you are, when it's really not. And like I said, I will share a story about this that kind of disproves this myth, essentially. So I want to start off by saying that there's no denying that physical attractiveness is super important to us human beings. We are biologically programmed to be attracted to attractive people, to want to have attractive people as our partners, and we want these attractive people to mate with. You know, we have that biological urge to be with people that we perceive as being, you know, healthy, for example, being fertile, being strong, whatever the case might be. And the second point I want to make before I jump in really into this main part of the video is that the beauty industry, you guys, is an industry that is worth over $500 billion, okay? This beauty industry wants you to buy into it. And they do this by having, celebrities and people on Instagram, wearing certain things, having their hair done a certain way, having their makeup done a certain way. And this is on purpose, this is to make money. A lot of it has to do with making money. And they just push out there, they push on social media and on like TV and in magazines, they want you to want to look like those people. And that's why a lot of the time, at least in my opinion, like if I do go on Instagram and I do see some of these Instagram models, I find a lot of them look very similar. They have a lot of like, similarities in terms of their hair, makeup, clothing, whatever it might be. And there's a reason for this. There's a reason that a lot of women get their hair done a certain way, why a lot of women get fake nails, why a lot of women get their eyelashes done. And a lot of it has to do from the influence that comes from social media. So that's just something I want you guys to really think about before we jump in to the rest of this video. So despite all these pressures that we are getting from social media and from our environment, despite these things, I think that there's actually four things that might be just as strong, if not stronger, in terms of being perceived as being attractive. So the first point is that beauty, as we know it, is so subjective. So as we know, there's a lot of influences that go into what we perceive as being beautiful. And what's perceived as being beautiful, for example, in one country or one culture, won't be perceived as being beautiful in another country or another culture. Some examples that I can think of in terms of where I'm from, so North America, would be pale skin. Some people seem to think that if you do have pale skin, you are not seen as being as attractive as somebody with tan skin. That is why a lot of women go and get spray tans. But a lot of countries, for example in Asia, actually think that paleness is a very attractive trait. It's something that they're doing over there. It's something that they're trying to achieve in those countries, is to look and appear more pale. Some other examples I can think of off the top of my head would be, for example, having a big forehead and then also body weight. So in some cultures like North America, being thinner, being kind of skinny is seen as being more attractive, while in other countries, having a heavier body weight is actually seen as being more attractive. Another point I want to make is when it comes to physical attractiveness, it's not just about how your face looks or how your body looks. I hear this time and time again, and I'm the exact same way, is that, for example, people's voices, people's mannerisms, their expressions on their faces is seen as being super attractive, and it's actually a very subjective experience. And there's also like little things that we find attractive as human beings that maybe not other people find attractive. For myself, I really have a thing for guys that wear glasses and that have sleeve tattoos that are all black and white. I don't know why it is, but I just really think that guys that have glasses and tattoos are really attractive. And the thing is, there are going to be some other women, for example, that think the same way that I do. And then there's going to be a camp of women who they're really indifferent to it. They don't really care if a guy wears glasses or not or has tattoos. And then there's going to be another camp of women that are like, ew, no thanks. Like, I don't want to date a guy with tattoos or glasses. That's not my thing. Like, ugh, right? So beauty is subjective in that way. And sometimes we find little features about people that we really find attractive as well. Like maybe like the freckles on their faces or the line on their nose or something like that. Like there's these little things that we find attractive about people. And the thing that have found is I've actually watched some people on YouTube talking about some of these little traits that they like in women. And I was always, for example, a little insecure about the fact that I show a lot of my top teeth when I talk, because I've had like braces before. I had like that overbite. And so I've always been a little bit insecure about this. But I've actually watched some videos recently of some guys saying they like women who have like toothy smiles and who talk a lot with their top teeth and how they find that to be attractive. And I was like, wow, this is something that I'm a little bit insecure about, but yet there's guys here on YouTube that are saying that that's actually attractive. It just really helped to make me feel better about myself. So just remember that. Even your insecurities, things that you might not like about yourself, somebody else is actually going to find that really attractive. So just remember that going forward. So the second point I want to make is that inner beauty really does radiate on the outside. So let me ask you this. Have you ever met somebody that you found to be really attractive on the outside, but after talking to them and getting to know them, you were like, oh, like this person has a bad personality, and then you maybe started to see features on the outside that you didn't find to be attractive? And what about this? Have you ever seen somebody that you were like, oh, like they're not really my type, they're not really that attractive on the outside, but after getting to know them, you start to see them on the outside as being more attractive? Well, this is a thing, guys, all right? There's studies that have been done, which I will link down in the description box below, that prove that this is a real phenomena. So there was actually a study done, I wrote some notes down, so I'm just going to read them to you. So there was a study done that looked at certain personality traits and how they would influence how somebody perceived another's physical attractiveness. So, for example, if a person had positive traits such as honesty, helpfulness, they were perceived as being better looking. And if people had more negative traits, like being unfair and being rude, they were actually seen as being less attractive. So just remember this, that how you are on the inside really does radiate outwards. So if you are a good person on the inside, if you take the time to work on yourself, to work on your weaknesses, and really let your strengths shine, you will actually be perceived as being more attractive. So really, I think the most important thing that you can do in terms of being all around an attractive person is to really work on the inside and really work on who you are. If there's things you don't like about yourself, write those down in a journal and figure out ways that you can improve on those things in your life. It's so important and it's so beneficial. It'll make you feel so much better. It will really give you the self-confidence that you need as well to maybe go out and approach people. When it comes for somebody else to really love you, you really have to love yourself first. You really have to work on yourself first. And that's when other people will come around and see how great you are and will love you, for who you are. So the third point I want to make is that confidence is key. Confidence is so key in how you are perceived in terms of being attractive or not. And this is where I'm going to share a story. So basically, how I feel about my self-confidence at the moment is not great. I'm basically in the process of building up my self-confidence again. I had some traumatic events happen to me in 2016 that involved me losing a lot of friends, and because of this, I lost so much of my inner self-confidence. And when you lose your inner self-confidence, a lot of the time you also lose your outer self-confidence. And yeah, it's been 4 years in the making, and I'm just at the point where I'm slowly starting to build up my self-confidence again. It's such a long process, and it's something that's really tough to do. And I'd love to make a video on it once I get to a point where I feel very confident in myself and my abilities. Previous to that, so previous to 2016, I was a very confident person. And I think the time when I was the most confident was actually in grade 9, so when I was in my first year of high school. So when I was in grade 9, I started hanging out with some people that were very outgoing and who had a lot of friends. And because I started hanging out with them, I started to become more like them. And I started to approach everybody. I didn't care who you are, what group you belonged into, whether you were male or female, like that stuff didn't matter to me. And I would go up to so many people and start conversations with them and just really get to know people. I just loved doing that at that point in my life. And the thing was, I definitely wasn't in my prime when it comes to looks, and I'll insert a picture in this video. But I did not dress the best, guys. Like, I really did not. Like, I don't know what I was thinking, okay? You'll see in the picture. It's not like I was some girl wearing some nice fitting clothes, like, no, I was wearing freaking skull shirts and like heavy like sweaters and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't looking so great. And I just want to let you guys know this, that I don't think my looks really had anything to do with this. But basically, when I started approaching people, people kept coming to me, especially guys. I was getting asked out left, right, and center. I was getting so much attention from guys. They'd ask me out all the time. They'd always want to try and hang out with me at lunch and like get to know me and stuff. And the reason for this wasn't because of my looks. I think it was because I was confident and because I was going up to them first, which, you know, a lot of guys admire because women don't typically do this all the time, right? They don't typically approach males all the time. And I was doing that, especially in grade 9, you know, like usually you're a little shy in your first year of high school, but I was the opposite. I was like, no, man, let's get to know people. I love people. Come on, let's get to know the folks in this school. You know, that's how I was, essentially. So, and that's just a little story to kind of tell you guys how me being confident was getting me all this attention. Because now, here I am in my mid-20s, and even a couple of years ago, like, guys, I can't even tell you the last time somebody's even, a guy's approached me or even asked me out. I think maybe it would have been last summer in August. I went out with my friends for my friend's birthday, and this guy came up to me, and he basically wanted to try and get with me. He admitted this to me. He's like, I really want you to make me a Canadian citizen. So he was from, like, I don't know, somewhere's in the Middle East. And he was like, oh, I'm studying engineering. I'm going to be an engineer. You know, we should get together. We get married. You make me a Canadian citizen. And I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with you, man. Like, Jesus. Yeah, so that was literally, I'm not joking, guys. This is the last time that a guy has approached me or asked me out. It's just funny to look back on. But yeah, like now I don't really get a lot of attention or anything like that, but it's because I'm more I'm more closed off. I'm less confident in who I am. I'm probably being perceived as being less friendly and things like that. So kind of the example I just gave you kind of shows that, you know, I was being approached more when I was more confident and being approached less when I was less confident. When you appear to be more confident, you appear to be more attractive. People like confident people. You know, it's proven. I could probably find another scientific article that proves this and link it down below for you guys, for your reading pleasures. And the fourth point that I want to make is when it comes to attractiveness, there's only so much that we can do, right? Like, you could get plastic surgery, sure, but a majority of us aren't going to be able to do this. But things that people perceive as being attractive are actually things that are in your control. For example, personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is seen as being, you know, very attractive, essentially. You know, we tend to be turned off from people that are dirty, that don't shower, that don't change their clothing, you know, who wear the same clothes all the time and don't wash them. You know, they're going to be perceived as being less attractive. So that's a really important point. It's just to kind of keep up with what you have at your disposal, what you do have control over. So that's, you know, keeping up with your hair maintenance. You know, I know right now that kind of isn't really a thing that we can do, but you know, when this quarantine is all over and we can go out into the real world, you know, going and getting a nice haircut, you know, is a great thing. And I find that, like, when I get my hair done, I feel so good. I feel so much more confident. I feel better, and I just feel like even healthier too, in a way. Like, my hair just feels healthier, and then that makes me feel healthier as well. Speaking of healthier, another thing is to eat healthy, is to drink a lot of water, it's to exercise, it's to do those healthy habits. Being a healthy person is seen as being attractive, right? Your skin's going to be clearer, your hair is going to be shinier, you know, you might not have as much weight on you, you'll be more in shape. Things like that is really what's going to help you in terms of being more attractive on the outside. And I find another thing too is clothing. And honestly, I think when it comes to clothing and hair, you can really do whatever you want, because at the end of the day, what really matters is how attractive you think you are and what you like, not what other people like. But there are some things you can do. For example, wearing more well-fitting clothes, or wearing clothes that kind of match more, kind of putting like a matchy outfit together, like having like your accessories, like your earrings and your shirt and your scarf and, you know, your shoes and pants all kind of coordinated is really seen as being attractive. I know for myself, when I see guys that dress well, I really am more attracted to guys like that. Those guys that really are put together, you know, that have nice hair, that have nice clothing. I find them to be more attractive, even if maybe their facial features aren't as attractive. I think that those points that I kind of went over are really important in terms of how you are perceived on the outside in terms of attractiveness. But yes, I just want to say it one more time that, you know, What's really important is how you feel. You know, you need to work on that first. You want to make yourself feel attractive, because when you feel attractive overall in yourself, other people will see you as being more attractive, and you can do it. I know you can. And I just want to end this video with saying that we are all so unique, and we are all so vast and beautiful in our own ways. You know, do this experiment at some point. When we're able to go back out into the world, I want you to do this experiment. I want you to go in a park, in a mall, somewhere where there's a lot of people, and I want you to look around. And you'd be surprised by how many people that you see that are attractive. I don't know why people really get so caught up in physical appearances, because in my opinion, a lot of people are attractive on the outside, but not as many people are attractive on the inside. And I think that's what really matters most, is how attractive you are on the inside. It's having those good qualities. It's feeling good about yourself. It's having that self-confidence. That really is the most important thing. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If this did help you, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Alright, thanks.